Well, I won't, I'm never professional, just
Don't go that far.
pretend to be at least somewhat politically correct. And since official, or is it not yet?
It's official, yep.
It's official. Welcome callers. This is the only time I'm going to be addressing you during the whole thing. Love to see you in here next time. Now for the rest of y'all, there's that. I am going to go ahead and ask each of you what brought you here. I'll help shape it, because I'm sitting in the crowd and someone asks me, I don't know what the heck to say, so I'll structure it so it's easy for you. But a little bit about me. I'm Chris Weckner. I'm a crowd, so I spell my name funny. It's H. Say it like K's. But if you call me Weckner, I'll know exactly what you mean. I'm a data analyst turned marketer. Worked for General Motors, and as a data analyst, I was in the auto industry, especially toward the end of the first decade of the 2000s, and it didn't take too much to kind of see that it's probably not a long future for me here. And I also noticed that a lot of my skills were going down. So I started taking all sorts of investing type courses, but one of the people from there pointed me saying, oh, I'm going to be moving around. You got me just like hear that with me? That's so I guess this is my zone.
Yes.
Because I'm video. But I still skate. I like leading a straight cat. But someone suggests I take this course, Internet Marketing. And being the data nerd that I am, and we'll have an official timeout. Come on through. We just started. Yeah, it's 30-second pitch right now. Just kidding. Have a seat. So I focused on the word internet because I figured, never hurts to get more computer skills. The word marketing never crossed my mind. So I say all of this, that I'm actually pretty new to marketing. I found it was a good fit. As I like to tell people, I found I've actually got a pretty sleazy side that I get to use productively in marketing. But a lot of what I learned, basically just clawing and scratching the screen. It's not formal. I've just been telling you the things I've done that seem to work. Anything you guys know on your own, I'm all ears. So the best thing about the internet is that nobody knows all the answers. The worst thing about the internet is that nobody knows all the answers. Why that's bad is you don't necessarily have cookie cutter stuff, but the good news is there's enough of us have experience that we can at least provide a foundational groundwork so you can begin. My blog is on marketing, so I'm guessing at least one person in here may write a blog. Actually, it's not a guess. At least two people in here write a blog. You've already told me yourself. And just so if I can, I'll try and shape some of this conversation and customize it. I won't always be able, but I'll do my best. So, raise your hand, fess up if you have a blog. You can't be a secret agent in this business. So, two people with blogs, and now are you guys? I know I talked with Susan at length earlier. Are you guys just curious about blogs in general? Are you looking to figure out how to start one?
Yes.
Yes to both.
Yes to both.
So I don't know if I'll be able to cover a whole lot of that. How I'm going to structure today, I'm certainly going to encourage some interaction, but if it seems like the question is going to take you too far off the beaten path, I will forge forward, but you might have to remind me. I'm usually pretty good, but I have my absent-minded moments. I'll need your help. We'll write down questions to be answered later. And if it's something that can be answered relatively quickly, I will. Otherwise, then I'll go through that. If there's time left over, and I think on this particular one there will be. A lot of the other times I ramble way too long. On this one, I'll ramble long, but I still think there's going to be time left over. And then see what you either currently have going on or what you're looking to consider, and see if we can actually find ways to give you one or two action steps leaving here that you might be able to implement in the next week. Are we okay with that approach? So first off, I think so Beth mentioned that she's got essentially, more or less, the advantages of the singles person site. Why I'm single, why I'm still single. And I think is it the same blog or a different blog that you're writing that mentioned something about bureaucracy?
Same.
Okay. And then Douglas, what type of blog do you have going?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, I have like two half blogs because like I need to be more consistent in my output. One is a blog that deals with the history of black movies, movies about black folks. And the other blog is kind of like a reflections on the culture wars.
Culture wars, you said?
Yes. It's called Urban Witch Doctor. Because that's one culture.
Actually, both of us sound like you'd be pretty interesting. Actually, all of them.
I was kind of a weird kid, so.
Okay, that explains it.
No, actually, you just did a lot of independent thinking. You were in a position, you made a lot of observations. You made observations other people did. You're just helping, hey, viewing the world through my lens, not just yours.
I like that.
Those experience. These are not the exact titles. Always have to think twice when I spell that word. Did I spell that correctly? No.
No.
Not even close.
I can read it. Oh, it's bureaucracy.
EAU.
It's spelled right.
I'm sorry.
Single woman's experience about the log and the history of
I have a piece of
black
the worst speller in front.
Hey, I work with kindergartners that I can read it.
Alright. So first off, it's, because the title of this one is, how this talk is focusing on marketing your blogs, which basically there's two main parts. One, trying to get it so people are in position to read it. Two, just because it's in the paper doesn't mean people are reading that article. We want them to be reading your blog. A little problem. I actually went on the internet and I scoured to try and find how many blogs there are, and it seemed like they stopped counting somewhere in late 2011. They lost count and said heck with it. That may not be a true statement, but as of October 2011, somehow they counted roughly 173 million blogs. Fast forward that a year and a half, I'm thinking you can probably extrapolate that to be 200 million plus. Let's pretend it's still 173,000 or million. But given that it's easier today than ever before to create a blog, what are the chances that that number did not grow? So, the problem, how do we, that's a big pile of stuff. How do we separate ourselves from that? That's,
Stand out from the crowd, kind of? How do we stand out from the crowd of blogs?
exactly. That's a lot. We have about that many people in the United States. And how do we get noticed? Me.
One thing you could do would be maybe name the blog something that people commonly look up.
You're brilliant. I like you. You're now assigned to teach one of my internet marketing roundtable sessions in Detroit.
Sounds good to me.
We're going to discuss that. We'll bring some attention to that. You're absolutely right. And I apologize. I haven't asked you your name yet. I'm Chris. Hi, Candace. I may have to ask a couple of.
Sorry, I was trying to get parking and I didn't have any money, so I had to go somewhere and get change.
And you didn't know the hiding spots to park. That's sorry, that had to be frustrating. I didn't mean to send you to timeout. Next week, if you do it again, then you're.
Okay, then I'm in trouble.
Today, we're gonna let it slide. This is free parking day. Well, except for the meter use that. So essentially, I guess I should probably ask, why do you think some people actually write blogs? Really help the fire. We're different. How come you guys write blogs?
Well, my blogs were because I think that there are things that I'm worried about being forgotten. The movie blog in particular, which is called Midnight Ramble, is based on the fact that, you know, back in the day, black folks couldn't go to the same movies as white folks did, and they used to go at midnight, so. And there were a whole bunch of movies that were produced and directed by black folks, before Hollywood decided that we could make a lot of money off that. A lot of those movies are kind of disappearing, so I thought it would be important to go ahead and talk about those movies.
You're educating people. You're putting, you're basically, you want, here's a message you want people, you see it's important, but because it's not being broadcasted, people aren't getting it, so you're trying to be the billboard.
Pretty much,
That's, and then,
and a lot.
any other reasons? I mean, that's,
I like to write and I like to tell stories. And I like to share them. And mine are not so much to educate, but just to put the stories out there and get feedback. I do get feedback.
you just wanna share your views, your experiences. And the fact you like writing, I didn't get that, so you're any, why might either you or someone else you know write? And don't worry if you get it right or wrong, in fact, all these are right.
Well, I might write a blog because I'm thinking of doing some stuff on the internet to maybe publicize some books I've written or am in the process of writing. And so I'm thinking if I could put something on the internet, people become familiar with me and then maybe want to read one of the books that I've been involved with or something like that.
That's, don't feel self-conscious, you bring up good stuff. And anyone else wanna start, throw out guesses? I mean, so far everyone's right, that's,
Well, this isn't fair, cause we can see the board here, it's got all, it's your next slide. And so, I could read you what's on your next slide, but that's not
Cheating.
fair.
Cheating.
I'm there already.
You know.
you could have sounded brilliant here.
I really could have, you know, I'm an honest girl, so, there we go.
That's,
That's funny.
all right, well, I guess
There you go.
we're there. Well, that's, so essentially Beth, as Beth mentioned with her experiences, I mean, I forgot to, I didn't even include the fact that she likes writing, there's plenty of bloggers that just like to write. But she's got certain views that she's experienced that, hey, I think these are kinda cool. I think there are other people who are gonna find this kinda cool. You got Douglas, say, hey, there's a big segment of history. And that's, if you're not interested, that's okay, but for those of you that are, you don't have a resource. I'm your resource. Come visit me. And Candace, you were mentioning earlier, hey, I've got some products I want to deliver. Branding. And actually, I'm gonna tie in you and Joy, because Joy's got the, I forget, something with pineapples, I don't remember the rest of it, and I just become a guy, I focus on food. It's, it's a gift shop in Chelsea, and
Celine.
I'm so sorry, please go to,
Okay. Oh,
callers,
yeah.
go to Celine,
Yeah.
not Chelsea for this.
It's, we were talking about Chelsea before this.
No, actually, to me, it's all the same, it's,
Oh, don't say that. That's the worst thing you can say.
I'm an out of towner, so I need GPS to get me through this. So, different things that you can do with branding, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually show you, this actually probably relates to you more than you realize. And in the case of the shops, you can actually have pictures of different things and give little descriptions, maybe go a little history. And, well, you've got a website, but once someone sees a website, are you returning to a website usually? You already saw it, but a blog, that's constantly changing. That provides people a reason to keep returning because there's updates. Hey, check out the new stuff I got in. Did you see this antique? I bet you haven't seen this antique. Do you know, and you know why I'm so excited about this? And later we'll learn, or you can, you were mentioning, was it a book that you're thinking of promoting, or you just mentioned in general? Yeah,
Well, yeah, I have a couple of books I've co-written with others. I'm writing another one right now, and I also do other writing. So,
And, well, I know, anybody have any ideas how, if you have a book that you've written or co-written and are trying to promote, how you might be able to use a blog in order to aid your selling process?
Could you put a little sample taste of your writing on there, lure people in?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Beth, good job.
I used to be in advertising.
So you actually probably know this stuff.
No,
See,
I
know
don't
street stuff
understand.
here.
The internet is like my thing I'm learning, so.
It's the same thing. People are people. It's just, instead of watching TV, we're watching the internet. And that, yeah, that's exactly it. And we'll talk more about SEO, and once it gets to that point, I'll actually describe what SEO is, so you're not rolling your eyes, what's SEO? For those of you who know, that's another use. There are plenty of people who write just so they can generate revenue. They may do it through something called Google AdSense, or they may actually be big time enough where people pay to place an ad on their website, on their blog. You can actually make money doing this. I mean, you're probably not gonna make a ton, but if you like writing anyway, and you're gonna type babble, then you'll make a few bucks. Well, actually, I have a feeling you've got a niche market.
Yeah.
I can't help but think, by the way, it's not the main focus, but you could actually do something called affiliate marketing. Meaning you could actually affiliate yourself on behalf, you could sell movies that fall in the Black history, or anybody that appeals who'd be reading that, get yourself a little commission. Hey, here's a little description about it. By the way, if you'd actually like to order this for yourself, go ahead and click here, bada bing, couple of coins in your hands. It's just stuff from what you're doing anyway. The nice thing about Google AdSense, the downside about Google AdSense is, opposed to what I mentioned, you don't make as much money. The upside is, you don't necessarily have to know what you're doing, Google will actually change the ad and kind of blend it with whatever the content on your page is. So this today, actually, I go on there, it combines things, the computer knows that I, as an individual Google account, I tend to visit. Okay, this guy tends to like music. And this is a website about Black history. This guy tends to like jazz. Maybe we can get some Black history jazz type things that's going to make this guy just salivate with the opportunity to buy. And you won't have to even necessarily anticipate that through Google AdSense. Google AdSense is always trying to pair up, they're like they're the stalker. I mean, I can't think of it now. But basically, they know what's on your site. They know what you do as and your searches. They've got us. They are smarter than us. The best thing you can do is just not bring your wallet to the event. Certainly, there's a big brand, celebrities, Britney Spears, or I don't know celebrities. I'm really stretching, but actually, big companies. This is common. Big companies will. DTE will use it as a way to just kind of hear ye, kids in the kingdom. And if you send something to me and big company respond to you, let's face it, we're all a little flattered. As stupid as that is, we're flattered. Now, me as the go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Please continue your thought, but what comes to mind for me too is I think often is used to kind of create a connection. I think of, different churches I've attended, your pineapple store. If someone can get to know the person behind, the people, the real face of business or a church or something, or a senior center, and the behind the scenes and the people that make it a living, breathing organism.
Did you look at my presentation ahead of time?
So I think you're probably going to say that, but I think that just really
Yes,
ends
right.
up making them want to come back again and want to have community.
So it sounds, let's see, the last thing I did not mention, or did not list, there's probably even more than this, but one thing I personally use it, I'm not willing to put in writing, but as an internet marketer, when I represent companies, I'll create a blog, I'll use a blog, but it's really nothing more than just, it's a publishing. I'll publish my press releases, I'll publish stuff from other people, just to generate as much content as possible on that website. And eventually Google will take it to be wow, there's a lot of stuff on here, this must be a serious website. No one's reading my blog post by post, but guess what? And I'll talk more about this in a little bit. Not only does a blog itself have a link, but each individual blog post has its own separate link. We'll talk more about why it's
And
important.
search engines, you mean like Google searching? I'm sorry, I really wanna make sure I understand. So Google, when people search, Google will start making their listing go toward the top of the listings? Is that what you're talking about, or something?
You described SEO, I mean,
Okay.
I'll do a better job making sure that everyone understands that, but
Okay,
you described the goal of SEO.
okay.
Again, once we get to that point, I'll actually explain, I'll stop using letters when I use real words, and then return to letters once you understand the
And
words.
that's kinda what you're talking about would help with, a
That's
lot of-
one of the things.
One of the things, okay.
And you actually mentioned another thing earlier, so I think,
Okay.
so we've already, the good news is, we mentioned before that there are like probably over 200 million blogs. I mean, it seemed like the world stopped counting about a year and a half ago. But yes, there are a lot of blogs. The good news is, whatever the reason you're writing a blog, there's probably a lot, that number goes from 200 million plus to a lot smaller number. You're still competing against a lot, but maybe you're competing within the state rather than the entire nation. So there's still work to do, but maybe being best in the state is not quite as daunting as trying to be best in the whole United States. Do you ever feel like this? Where's my blog? I was trying to find a little animation one, I got all the went away, but. So, as you actually hinted earlier, Susan, I mean, essentially, honestly, one of the best ways of getting people to pay attention to your blog is they know you. They either know you face to face, but since at this point we're talking about how did I do that? Did you trip up my thing here? I think it's Michelle's fault. That's like,
Skip.
oh, she's gonna have to tie my feet here. So, some people talk with their hands, I talk with my feet. I'd say sorry, but I know it's not gonna make any difference to you. So, trying to get in touch with the folks are basically, it's broken into two sections. I mean, I'm gonna talk more about each section, but people are either dealing with you, they're reading your blog because they're interested in you, or they're interested in your blog because they're interested in what your blog has to say without knowing you. So first things first, it's a whole lot easier to get folks who know you to at least take a peek at you. So I'm gonna spend some time trying to suggest different ways that I use, and maybe ones I don't use and probably should. It's real easy. You can, by the way, I'm gonna list a bunch of things. I'm better than most. I do quite a few of them, but there's still plenty of things that I don't. There's always many things you should be doing. Focus on being able to do a few things. One of my friends likes to say, "Don't should on yourself," and that's no more true than anywhere on the internet, because there's always going to be stuff that you should be doing, and it's impossible at the time or energy to do everything. So I'm basically the different methods I'm going to mention as far as the online handshaking. Certainly, you want fans. I mean, we all want to be. Most of us want to be adored. But something that a lot of folks overlook, trying to find other peers, leaders, folks who have their own following. It's great. The amount of work it takes for me to get 10 individual people to follow me, compare that amount of work to get 10 people who each has his or her own following. Am I making sense? We can either get 10 fish or 10 fish tanks. Because I'm lazy, I'm gonna go, if there's a fish within my reach, grabbing it and go with it. But don't overlook, find who the leaders are, because they tend, lots of people have their ears, and if they suggest, hey, you gotta check out Beth's Lion-Still single site. This chick's got some funny stuff in it. Actually, much like Michelle did. She did it online, she did it offline, but is it any different online? And if you know something really good, have you ever shared anything that was kind of funny or cool with anybody else you know online? Raise your hand if you have not. So either I guessed correctly 100%, or we have a bunch of really nice people in here who don't want to make me feel silly. The other group, we all know them in real life, has to do with the folks who just revel in being connected. They don't do anything. Nobody really listens to them except for the fact that the gossip columnists. I mean, forget that. I'm using it as a general term, but you know the people in real life that if you want to get the scoop, if you want a secret, your goal is to stay as far away from that person as possible. But if you want something to be really broadcast well in the whole world, you know the rumor mill spreader. Online do the same thing.
Chris. Our online audience, there's a question from Rick. He says, can you suggest any widgets that will help market a blog besides the obvious share on Facebook and Twitter?
The real answer is no, because I don't usually use WordPress very often. Let's see if we can put that on the board to get latest. Let's get a different color for questions. So for those people who came after the fact, ones above here are a couple different blog topics that people in here currently are doing. So we have some widgets for sharing blogs. We'll have to look up that, because honestly, Rick, online, if you're within earshot, that I'm not really all that excited about anything that supposedly is automatic. It has to prove to me that just because a post doesn't mean anyone's reading those posts. Now, when we go back and maybe try and do a quick lookup, maybe we'll find something that'll make all of us just say, wow, glad you asked the question, we're all gonna be better at marketing our blogs because of it. So I've got it up here. So if you're still watching at the end, I'll do my best to come up with something more of an answer than I don't know, which is the only truth I have right now. So we got, this is where the auctioneer comes through and gives different methods of networking online, using different methods of social media, blog comments, forum posting comments, articles, press releases, guest posting, marketing. The top, I've got a page for each of these. But essentially these top three, different forms of social media, blog commenting, forum posting, because we're focused on the networking part, we're actually, our interaction is pretty much going to be finding things that exist and making comments on them. In the case, I don't know each person's background here in each of these. If afterwards you're like, hey, I sure wish you could talk more about Twitter. I sure wish I could talk about how to actually create a blog from scratch, or anything I mentioned, make a note, we'll talk afterwards, and we'll see whether if I find a way to accommodate it through here or some other venue. I don't want to leave in the dust, but because I apologize in advance if there are some things I mentioned that are not the absolute intro to blank level. I'm not trying to put you in the dust, I'm just trying to be pertinent to the marketing. But in Twitter, things I do to network, this is different than marketing. Things I do essentially be shaking hands online. I find folks who are really good. I try and find those leaders. Remember those leaders I was mentioning earlier? The folks who are always producing their own content, who seem to have a lot of people who follow them. Guess whose stuff I'm promoting? Guess who knows every time I promote their stuff? It'll be them. And you do it once, maybe they notice, maybe not. But if you keep doing it, if you keep, hey, this is the type of person I want to introduce in my life, either because I want them as a person, or they represent they have the type of following who are likely to read my stuff and be addicted. I will promote their stuff. Certainly make sure, sometimes you just talk to them directly. And if you don't have the background on Twitter, I apologize. So you'll give me 30 seconds, I'll go through this, just ignore me and go to sleep and wake up in 30 seconds and we'll be the good again. Do the Circle A, name a person, comment on something on their blog, either something they tweeted or comment on something in their profile. Hey, you can do something called direct message, but on Twitter, so many people really abuse it that I know I cannot remember the last time I read anything on that direct message. If any of you, any person here, if you've sent me something on direct message, I'm not ignoring you, I just haven't read it. So if you come to me afterwards, please come and read my stuff. I'll go through and try and find it. But so technically that's something I probably should tell you it's a method, but my experience, no one reads direct messages I send to them, they're legitimate. But tweeting directly, have conversations. I personally don't use Facebook. I have a Facebook account, so now I'm now speaking with barely any experience, with more logic than I am hands-on knowledge. But Facebook, yes, you have your friends, but Facebook has groups. And I've never used a Facebook group. I'll talk more about LinkedIn because it's pretty much the same approach, but I do use LinkedIn, sometimes in more spurts than others. LinkedIn, what do they call? Raise your hand if you've ever used LinkedIn, even if it's just start an account. So, when there's someone that you know, what do they, and they want to be part of you, what do they call that person on LinkedIn? Connection, right? So if we're connected, would it make sense that you might actually read something I have to say, especially if I personally target it your way? Hey, sometimes you can broadcast it because to everybody who's connected to you because it has universal enough appeal. But sometimes you may have to pick and choose. And last time I was in here, I gave a talk about LinkedIn and actually showed you how you can create your own tag to people interested in the history about black movies and being able to attend black movies. Maybe you got 20 people in that group. And lo and behold, they may intend to read your posts, go to your blog. Let's face it, how often do most of us remember to go to everyone's blog? I won't answer for you, but I'll answer for me. I don't even read my own blog. But if someone comes, grabs me, hey, Chris, here's this really cool thing, and here's why I think you'd like it. Check out this link. If you're targeted specifically to people who are interested in exactly what your blog's describing, are you not doing them a favor possibly by making it real easy for them? You don't have to remember my blog name. That's okay. Just click here. Oops. Same with if you actually decide to do this for your store, for your books. Hey, I've got this new blurb. There are 10 chapters in this book. Before I only had a little teaser of chapter 1, I've got a little sample of chapter 2 now. If you're not interested, that's okay, but if you are, you don't want to peek in this. Just click here. YouTube as a handshaking thing, it seems like there are some folks who just seem to be crazy about making comments with each other. And they almost seem to band like their own band of people. But we can take advantage of that. Because raving fans of anything, if they're raving fans championing our stuff, if our goal is to get people to read our blog, hey, not only are they going to read our blog, but they're probably going to scream our blog to everyone else. We want to go, at least I want to go, again, yes, I'll take the individual fish, but I'd rather have a whole fish tank. I want to go, I do 1 or 2 actions and I get a whole lake of fish. If you don't like fish, work with me. Honestly, it's older school and technology, but the approach is still the same. Blog comments and forum posts, and I'll do a quick demo, so it's, how do you find, hey, go comment on blogs. And some of these blogs you might find through LinkedIn groups, you might find through Twitter. In fact, you can find a ton of those just on those alone. But hey, I'd actually like to find blogs that pertain to a topic that means a lot to me. More importantly, I would like to find a blog that is related to a topic that has to do with my blog. Because if they're reading the topic, if they're reading things about the blog over here, that's about the same topic as mine, I think some of those readers might be interested in my blog too. Let's take, if you already know this, then bear with, oh, come on, Slice Grill, come on. You're not allowed to do that. So go to Google. So we got experiences of single women. And now, here's the only thing that's a little bit technical. Well, I actually, not even, we won't even do the technical one first. Just put blog. Being a single Christian woman. How not to help all the single ladies. Okay. But let's just, I'll arbitrarily, I'm not trying to shove religion down anyone's throat. I picked it because it was the first one. So hopefully we can actually find some posts. Sometimes they let you make comments on the posts. You know, this is someone who got a hold of a really, they were more interested in how cool the WordPress template looks than actually function. Alright, let's just, I'm arbitrarily choosing that. Last night I wrote a blog on my personal blog. I debated posting on here on my personal blog, and the end of the blah blah blah.
You probably should have looked up something like cooking.
Oh, wow. So it doesn't even take, wow, this is a whole different topic, but make it easy for people to actually read your blog. We should not have to click on it 2, 3, 4 times just to get to the point we can read it.
That's a good point. Simple to access.
So, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but women, this is for you. Single women, I'm speaking to you. I wanna dare you. It's actually pretty, okay, I probably actually kinda wanna read the rest of this, but that's not why I'm here.
That was a good tagline or whatever, you know?
So now, wow, look at all these, so now you comment. Perhaps only the author reads his comment, but there are some people that just love to read other people's comments.
I love to. I always read news articles and different things. I'll read the comments.
And some people who fall in your category will go so far as, if they actually give comments that capture interest, who is this person? Start digging a little bit. And it is possible, some of these blogs will actually let you leave a link. Where would you leave a link if you're a blogger? Psst, your blog.
Are blog comments, are those searchable? Do they come up in a Google search? Comments that are made on the blog?
So the question basically is, just because I leave a comment on a blog, can someone who's not on the blog still find my comment using something like Google or Yahoo as a search? And the answer is mostly yes. There's technically no if somehow Google has not indexed the blog, which is fancy meaning the settings are made so Google cannot find it. But if Google can find the overall blog, then Google can find your comment on that blog post, on that blog.
So it would make sense if like for Joy, if she's leaving a comment, it would make sense for her to include the word Pineapple House in her comments so that it would be searchable.
Let me introduce to you a term called black hat SEO. That's, you're thinking very correctly, and because I'm being recorded, I want to make sure to encourage that you only put comments that apply to the blog, because otherwise that produces spam, which is basically the internet version of pollution. You'll have to use your own judgment. I'll mention a white hat way, and I'll acknowledge what some black hat people do. Of course, I've never done anything like that. But, turn on off, Michelle. And a white hat version, even if you never get found, again, right now, you're mentioning the marketing side, which actually is very good. You're hoping someone who's never met you can find you, and you actually offered a very good method. Don't worry if you didn't understand it, because I'm being recorded, I cannot endorse that method. I don't want Matt Cutts of Google coming after me. But even the legitimate way, again, this is the networking side opposed to the marketing. We're trying to find ways to shake hands. It's the off the internet version of going to different events like this, shaking hands. We're going to talk more about it, but frankly, if you're smart, someone in here you're going to find a way to get someone to read your blog. Hey, how you doing? You're not interested in learning anything about women's experiences as a single woman, why I'm still single, would you? You wouldn't find it interesting. Oh, would you? Well, here, why don't you go ahead? And it's same with you. You've got two really interesting topics. And even with you with the bureaucracy. I mean, you had some people kind of leaning in. You're doing the same thing with blog comments. Other people, if someone comments on your blog, and someone keeps commenting, they are a regular visitor, are you not at least a little intrigued? I'm picking on these two because these two have admitted having a blog. It's possible that a couple people came later have blogs, and I apologize if I'm ignoring you. So you're getting live feedback how other blog owners or writers are probably responding. We tend to be really flattered. You actually read that? Someone noticed what I did? But also other people comment, kind of peek and notice. Like you said, you read the comments, some of them are intriguing enough, you see them often enough, you kind of wonder, let's learn more about it. So in this case, you can leave a reply. I'm not looking to do anything with the single ladies, at least online. But you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and we're gonna give you a little shout time.
Beth is cursing me now for even mentioning your blog.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't have my glasses on.com.
Okay, so
I like that.
well, are you lying?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So I love how this post starts. I think that you have a unique way of sharing passionately. We have to make it. I mean, right now, I'm doing an example of black hat marketing because I did not read the article.
I know.
Passionately describing your feelings. So for right now, I'll just make it my email so it's not. But so it's Bethany. We actually don't even have to make it your name if we don't want. We'll make it the single lady dating champion. And we will point to, what's your website?
I didn't have my glasses on.
Make sure you include http://. Make sure you include that if you want it to be a clickable link. It might work if you don't have it. It definitely will work if you have it. It's worth the extra cap. Sorry to interrupt you. So www.
I didn't.
Didn't.
No apostrophe.
Oops. Thank you. I didn't even know about that. have
My glasses on.
glasses on
.com.
Awesome.
And I missed this, but where are you posting that? On WordPress.
Oh, alrighty, the bummer, and I've never been able to successfully post on WordPress.com because I don't have a WordPress.com account. So,
Do you want me to log in there?
you could, I mean, honestly, hopefully you get the idea.
Okay.
But as long as you have an account, and some places don't even require you to have an account, in fact, most don't. If you're smart, as a blog owner, and actually make this, I don't have this in the presentation, but this, let me finish this point, then we'll get you, Joy. Make sure your settings, you can make it so people, anyone can post. You can make it so people actually have to log on and post, or only certain individuals can post, depending on your objective. But if you're, in the beginning, you're just hoping, and no one's hearing you, tiny whisper, oh my God, someone heard me! If you're in that stage, I would suggest let anyone post. If you get spam, you get spam. Right now, in the beginning, getting spam is still better than nothing. It's sort of like when you're like Charlie Brown. He never gets his Valentine. I forgot about you, Joy. And he keeps checking his mailbox. He'd be delighted to get junk mail, even from the used car dealer down the street. So in the beginning, we're happy to even get spam comments. It's much better when we get humans. Do you remember your question, Joy?
Yes, actually, I have two quick ones, if I might. So you're saying, I'm familiar with WordPress as an account, but Blogspot is another account? Is that what that is? It's just a different way of starting a blog.
Different
through-
platform.
Yeah,
It's actually
okay.
suggested over others because it's part of Google and it could end up higher in the search engine.
I see. So you would probably prefer Blogspot over WordPress.
Honestly, they're about the same, from
They're
my
about the
experience.
It's
I mean,
not-
But the,
no, you're fine, Douglas.
No,
and, well, the other one was, so my understanding that this sort of black hat version of comments is sort of a comment that might have an ulterior motive to it? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Do you know what spam is?
Yes?
I mean, it's essentially, for those who don't, I mean, I forget what each letter stands, and if you do, that's cool, I don't care. That's, essentially, it's online pollution. I mean, what makes something spam? Essentially, if you have a comment that does not add value to the internet. This is a great post, and you're doing that just so you can leave a link to your site. We've never seen any of that, have we? Or worse yet, hey, I know the site is about the life of a single woman, but hey, I know this, I was about to say I know this great dating site, that actually would almost be apropos. Let's get the sporting goods store, you can get the stuff, the best investing advice ever. The only thing if I'm reading this site, the only thing I either want to say I hate men, I hate women, or I love men, love women. I'm not interested in money at this point. Emotions are playing. Don't interrupt me with something that doesn't belong with this topic. Or the other extreme, I was teasing the last one. Don't leave a comment about pig farming on a site about zebras. That's basically spam. But if you leave a comment that relates, it's okay to have the ulterior motive to try and lead people to your site. That's marketing. That's networking. So did I answer your questions?
Yes, you did, thank you.
Okay, and you said you had two. Do you remember the other one?
Well, it was about the blogspot.com, yeah.
And do you remember
and
the
I was wanting to know if Blogspot and Blogger were the same thing.
blog? When you open a Blogger account,
Okay.
you get a blogspot.com.
Okay.
It used to be called Blogspot. I do not know the history of why it's called Blogger today. And as Michelle mentioned, it might have happened when Google bought out Blogspot. So when you type blogger.com and create an account, you will create the default name of your website will have something that includes blogspot.com, which is confusing until you get it. Luckily, it's not confusing very long. So to answer your question, you essentially could do the same thing, but did you get the idea of how to do it? Let's go back, because this actually is an overlooked method. This is actually the type of thing you get an intern to do. So what I did was, I took whatever keyword I chose, and even if you're not into keyword research, and however you would check out a topic, put in that, throw the word blog after it. And once you exhaust those, how else might people word this topic? So I have experiences of single women, I have single women experiences, female dating experiences. Now here's the other, and that's that technical thing, if you actually want to, and this is true with any search, not just when you look at new comments, if you're looking to find something that has a keyword match within a specific site, SITE : that's the 2 dots, not the little winky. 2 dots, and then just type in the name of the site. So just to exaggerate, ESPN.com would take anything that has to do with the experience of single women on the ESPN site. Make it more pertinent to blogging. The 2 most common ones I know, WordPress.com and the blogspot.com. And you may find others, but that definitely should get you, if you're looking to implement that method. And as I have beneath here, I think, I can't remember if it's on this one or the next one, a forum posting it is. Instead of the word blog, just put forum. Yes, Ben?
I had, a group of plumbers linked to me from Baltimore because of one of my things I had written about the gas company, like a weird memo they sent me. So anyway, because I had the word gas company or something, and they did gas and electric and plumbing, they put it on their site. So it's an odd connection, but it's more readers, so.
Awesome. Hey, whatever the reason, do you have a picture of a cute girl on it or something? Hey, look at this one.
It was a flame, so.
Maybe they forgot their glasses down in that.
Awesome.
So as Beth just demonstrated, we have all sorts of people who are interested in us for different reasons. We can't always anticipate them all. We appreciate most of them. For form, I think the other word I suggested is group. Sometimes that takes you to, that's another word. Some forums will actually call themselves groups. So articles, I don't use articles so much anymore, but actually articles are a very good way for the networking side because they help establish expertise. Like, I don't know within your site, actually, I can find a way to use it in each of your sites. So Douglas, it's actually easier for me to use an example with yours. Well, what are you thinking? It sounds like you were already getting the knowing nod, and I think you're probably pretty close.
Well, I didn't know about this, but I kinda like it. I think that I could, I'm assuming it's like you do an article and you submit it to them to go ahead and publish, and then you link it back to your blog.
That's a presentation right there. Exactly. So saying the online version of newspapers that publish blogs, most of them, their requirements are nowhere near as stringent as Michelle's paper. Michelle actually, when she was an editor, she actually required that you had good work.
Makes sense.
Now, just because you can get something past the editor of each of these doesn't give them if your purpose behind it is just to create backlinks, for those who understand what that is, junk ain't funk, it's just good marketing. But if you're trying to do is a networking thing, something to establish yourself as a credible expert. Hey, I know something about the history of Black American movies, or the fact that they weren't even allowed to watch them during a certain period, and now that's starting to be forgotten. Hey, no. Here's some key facts that you're gonna find really interesting. I bet, did you know?
So you would, not to interrupt,
You got
but,
that.
so you would be able to say, do an article and submit it to a reputable site such as like the Grio maybe, which is I guess that's a MSNBC site, and if they accept it, then they put your little name and picture on there, and then like you have a link to whatever your blog is, so it's working, much the same way as that.
I've never used that site. That sounds like that'd be an awesome site. What's the name of that? Cause it sounds like I should actually be paying attention
The
here.
Grio, G-R-I-O-T, G-R-O-T, I'm sorry.
G-R-O-T?
G-R-O-T, I believe that's how it's spelled. Well, you might put the I in there, but that's how you're supposed to spell it.
Ha, you know what? This week, awesome trick. When in doubt, make Google do the work.
That's what I do.
No, looks
That's
like,
not that one, try G-R-O-T.
well, actually, I'll intentionally just in RLT newspaper, online newspaper. Let's see if it like interests me. Online magazine?
That's it right there.
Oh, the Grio.
Okay, G-R-O-T, G-R-I-O, G whatever.
No, I think it actually is the
That's
Grio,
one,
right?
That's the one.
Okay. Yeah, that's a perfect example. We had no idea how to spell it. I mean, Google did the work. We still,
Because that's not how you spell the word, that's why, that's sort of,
this is spelling correctly and we still got the right place. Isn't that awesome? Google's smarter than we are. So what I'm saying is don't get excited if, oh my, I can't remember the name of that site. So, now if you're like my buddy who, oh, yeah, what did that guy say? Rob? And he'll say one or two other, oh, you mean Al? Yeah, Al. I don't think Google's that smart. But I've never worked with the Grio, but honestly, that would be like a home run, because that is a paper that is, online paper that's directly in your niche.
right.
That would be awesome. That's even better. If you find something in your niche.
Awesome, good.
But even something like eZine, you can submit it for free. Once you, creating a membership or to register is nothing more than just this big green button, start your free membership, and if you can follow, if you're a writer, or at least if you're in here, you're probably not scared about completing a form, name, email address, I mean, you're able to do that. So then, after that, it just simply, everything's a template. You have a title. It's been so long since I pay other people to submit articles for me, so I haven't even done those anymore. But they're done for me, but I don't do them anymore. And honestly, you'll get to a point where if it's making money for you, you'll pay other people to do this stuff, or you'll get interns. But it's nothing, it's just a template. And it's really good to help you establish credibility. Hey, tips about avoiding that creepy guy. You think some women might be interested in that one? And if you're looking for more, yeah, I want more than just those three. Free article submission sites. Oh, I think I even saw 2013 in there maybe. Not good enough. So free article directory list 2012, article submission list. Come on. You can do this. So in case you want some more, you think it's gonna be hard to find more? So don't worry if you don't have these specifics, make Google do the work. This one's more near and dear to me. I love press releases because several reasons. And I can actually, for me, this would be a topic all in its own. Newspaper people tend to really hate this part of me. They may hate me in general, but they really hate this part of me. Because we're all used to reading the newspaper and treating the newspaper like it's valid. Little trick. You look up my name. You're gonna check a few pages. You're gonna find I am in the news a lot. Guess who's the author of that news? Most people go online and they take they take press releases to be official, like someone else wrote about them. They don't realize that we create our own news. So it gives you, circling your own name, I would suggest try and tie it to things, hey, like even today, one press release, each person can write. Attended training to improve blogging skills. Douglas, and so if you're looking to actually surround your name, and let's face it, when we meet somebody, we're going on Google and snooping. Who's that company? You may not do it, but you may know someone that does. So why not have stuff there ready for them? Boy, squeaky clean. That's a whole other business, by the way, called reputation management. There's big money in that. There's free submission sites and paid submission sites. Another reason I like press releases is that there's a lot of folks who are afraid of actually, I don't know it's news, I don't know if we'll get approached. I can probably take any article you write, make a couple tweets, and make it good enough to get published on these free press release submission sites. It'll probably take a lot more work to get Michelle to approve it in her paper. She's mean. It's actually good when you have high quality, because when you have high standards, the material's high quality. But as a writer, you're not interested in high quality, you want high volume. I'd say by far of all the freebies, the most effective one most often is prlog.org, but there's a caveat with that. It will not let you use what's called, I call free mail. It will not let you use a Gmail account or Yahoo. You actually have to have something that, or Hotmail, you actually have to, in my case, I actually bought, it forwards to my personal account, but I have my company, The Ultimate Analyst, got Chris at theultimateanalyst.com. That lets me post to something like PR Log. If you don't have that, we still have information on Dash Online, Web News Wire, and again, just like we do at the article sites, if you're looking for free press release submission sites, guess what you type in Google?
What happens to the press release? So if I submit a press release to prlog.org, what happens to it? It just is on their site as...
Good question. This is getting off because one question is, how do they find it? I release this press release in a newspaper. In the real world, I submit a press release to Michelle's paper. The only way I get to see it is if I buy and read Michelle's paper. But the beauty online, yes, if you happen to be on the prlog.org site, you can read it. But how many people are going on prlog.org to read? Almost nobody, let's face it. I'm sure there's some freak out there somewhere that's loves to do this. It gets indexed by Google. And it tends to get indexed by Google very well. You can probably, that one probably qualifies as networking and marketing blended. I waffled as to which to call it. The articles I like to do in order to establish credibility. The press releases I lumped in the networking side opposed to marketing because it helps establish credibility. But it definitely spans over to the marketing because of what you basically alluded, Terry. Google finds you, and after a while, you learn not only to put your name, but whatever topic you're trying to have people find you. You start including that. I'll recap that on the marketing side. Let me check my time. Here's something that seems obvious, but I don't know too many people that do it. Raise your hand if you've heard of guest posting. What's guest posting?
Where you will post a blog for someone else's blog site as an expert or as maybe they're on vacation in that type of scenario, along the lines of their topic, what their site is
so you're willing to write a blog post and it's not even gonna be on your blog site? You're gonna do all that work, how come you're willing to do that?
Cause you're writing for free, so you might as well really hurt yourself.
Well, Joan Rivers is down in Carson as a guest, so if it's a good enough blog post and you are a guest on there, then that's would be a big
And you probably get to put your blog URL or whatever, with your post, so they,
Are you
say,
getting-
oh, he
There are
or she's
readers.
interesting, I'll go to their blog, maybe,
Well, it's a step up from leaving a comment.
yeah, there you go.
You're the featured comment.
Feature.
Yeah, it's a significant step from, yeah, you got, it's the ultimate joint venture. You got their readers, you're tapping into their readers. Why, now as a blog, I have a blog. Frank, I'd be delighted if any one of you did a guest post on my blog. Why is that? Because I'm lazy. Well,
And it could be that then people go to our blog and get more, or because they're my readers and they find out I've posted something on your blog, and they'll go to your blog to check out what you're offering.
What's up? Well, you're actually mentioning a very convincing reason why you would want to post on my blog, because you'd like to tap into my group and bring some of them to you.
No, but I'm saying in reverse, if I have a lot of followers and they know that I've posted on your blog,
I'll be on that blog.
if I say, read my blog on Chris's site, and all my people come over to your blog to read it, then maybe they'll start following you, and now I've given you a bunch of followers. So you could give me a bunch on your site, but I could also give you a bunch on my site, potentially.
No, you're absolutely right, and your word to describe cross-pollination is, and it's certainly, and it's also good to, after a while, people get bored of the same thing. I mean, that's why talk show hosts have guests. Hey, I'm really great, but you're kind of bored of me. But you'd be a little less bored of me. I'm gonna go ahead, I've got a guest on my show, Beth, and, whoo, you should see what this girl has to write. And she seems all timid, but all of a sudden you put a pen in her hand, and it's like a whole new world blossoms, and you are gonna actually have to go to the hospital, because you have to have a stomach transplant, it's gonna hurt so bad by the time you're done. That's, and okay, so that got people waking up again, so now they're ready to listen to me again. But there's lots of reasons, and actually, you can guest post on someone else's blog or host someone else. If I constantly have a bunch of people posting on my blog, does that make me look like a little bit of a celebrity? I'm well connected? Either or, if not both. So there's, plus when you do good things for other folks, you're paid. You know, they are referring people to your blog, just like you were saying, cross-pollination. I think it's actually something that I should do more often. I've done two, and they both have worked really well. I've had lots of other offers, and I've had lots of opportunities to be lazy and not do it. But I kick myself because it is a really smart thing to do. Have you ever done, I'm sorry.
No, I have a question, go back just a minute to the PR law. So when you're doing that, people have to actually go there, other newspapers, like, obviously not Michelle, are not gonna go there to pick up information and repost, basically people are just gonna go there?
Either they will, I think your question is how they find the stuff on PR Log?
Right, but are other places going to go there to pick up information to share themselves?
Thank you for reminding me. Yes. Yeah, actually, it's a distribution center. And I actually forgot to hit my favorite part of press releases. So I'm glad you brought me back to. So, not only might people find you on the site itself, in fact, that's probably not more likely. Your site, your press release that gets submitted to PR Log or Information Online, Wire or Newswire or whatever else, gets indexed by Google, and people might be able to find it on Google. And with press releases, it tends to be a higher percentage shot than with an article, is my experience. Articles used to be really good for that. Now Google seems to be a little wise to it now, and still slip one in there if it's a good one. And it distributes, and I don't know PR Log stats, But I will, now I'm gonna lead to the paid ones. Don't do this, if you're not making any money from this, ignore the next 92.72 seconds. But if you want juice, I have learned that paid versions, opposed to the free submission sites where I pay, Google seems to respect that. I've got my own speculations on this, but that's not the point of this one. But be careful. PR Web is probably the #1 submission site. If you have an unlimited budget, try PR Web. Why an unlimited budget? Because they've got different plans, but I think the cheapest of them is $350, maybe $349, something like that. So it better bring a lot of money to the site. Yes, Terry?
You describe these sites as a distribution center. Are they a distribution center that actually pushes the press releases out, or are they a warehouse where people can come and access them? Because there's a difference between a warehouse and and being like pushed out. Are there other organizations who subscribe to prlog.org in order to get press releases pushed to them?
The real answer is I don't know. My understanding is a distribution because that's the way they describe it. But I don't really know that answer.
Well, I can answer as an editor that
Yeah.
they will email to the editors. Like, I'll get that, but then it's up to us to decide, okay, is that local, is it pertinent to our area, do I wanna use it,
Who
do I have
would email
space
you?
for it? That, like PR Wire, will come through in an email to us.
Michelle, do you have to pay
With
into
a
that
little
to get
No.
that?
topic thing?
So it's
No.
free?
Does it come through as a topic for,
It's an email, let's say, from PR Wire, and they'll have a headline, and it'll be the article,
how
they're
do they
sharing it.
decide what to send to you, cause they must get thousands?
I don't know, I've never used PR Wire, so maybe there's a form you fill out for local media or something
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
so like keywords or something.
Yeah.
So you have to register as an editor?
No, I don't do anything, it just shows up in my
It just
email.
shows up
They
like
just
any
must have
other
my
press
email.
release?
Right, like any other, so it could end up in spam as well, and then again, you have to count on, is the editor gonna use it or not, it's up to their discretion.
And you get any from the free ones sent directly to you?
I just recognize the PR one, just for myself, and the others could end up in spam,
I'm gonna guess that the free one is probably more like a warehouse,
Mhm.
and that the paid one actually is a distribution
Yes,
center where they
so
try to,
distribute.
yeah, so that's what you're paying for.
If I'm forced to make a guess, I'm actually leaning heavily toward all of them being distribution centers. I warehouse them. I'm under the impression they distribute, but I have not looked at it closely. I think it's an intriguing question. I don't know that I can answer that before we leave, we put, so, PR submission sites. I do know that I have experience with the others. I've never used PR Web, and PR Wire is based on the same level as PR Web. And same level as price too. Warehouse versus distribution center. Email Wire, if you were, as an individual, to buy, the cheapest possible is $99. I actually buy it in bulk, so for me, the marginal cost to do one additional one is 0. But because most folks aren't willing to spend the money on a mass distribution package, it seems like Google actually takes that seriously, and I do have noticed that it gets, I'll get you 14 seconds. That's email. I've noticed that there's plenty of other places that post it and include the email wire to indicate that's the source from where they got it. Do you remember your question?
Are those fees that you're shelling out, the $350 to $99, is that a per release or per month? Is there a quantity? Is that a package?
Well, I don't represent any of these, and I don't have all the prices memorized except for email wire, because I do use that regularly. That is a per release, not per month, not per year. Now, I actually pay a subscription 6 months at a time, with email one in particular, 6 months or 12 months. Raise your hand if you're making a lot of money, if you're from your blog. If you are, yeah. So what you do, here's your workaround. You find somebody that has this stuff, and you find a way to you do a little bit of work for them, a little horse trading, so that you can use their stuff that they purchased without it costing out of your pocket. That's what I would
So we're all gonna call him.
do. So, I'll tell you what, if you write a press release, I will do one free. If you write it, I'll post it for free. And, I'll give you one, so you shout it out, and now it's on you to actually follow through.
Yeah, like a co-op.
You'll have to remind that you meant me here.
Share a subscription cost. Bloody co-op.
That's, there's actually another one I did purchase, and I don't recommend that one, so the online PR media, that one is really good if you need to make an impression immediately. It skyrockets up the top, but then it falls. So if you need to make an impression, it's really good if you have an event that's around the corner. I think the lowest level one of those is something like $22 or something. I haven't looked at that in about 6 months. So I'm sorry I didn't answer all your questions about whether it's a distribution or a warehouse. If we have time left over, we'll try and look up that. I am personally guilty of this one. We try so hard to get people to actually come to us and follow us. Is it easier to sell something to somebody who's never met you or somebody who already knows you? What made me ask that question? What does that have to do with email marketing? Are we doing something to collect the names or the contact information of the people who are coming to visit us and are impressed enough with us? I want more. No, you can find me around. No, deliver it to them. Make it easy so it automatically delivers right to them. Guess what? Hey, I just made another blog post. You showed interest in what I had to sell, what I had to offer at one time. But also, not just your blog posts. If you have, you can market your book or even an excerpt of your book. Give them I think the most effective thing for email, besides a post, to be when you put events on there. Hey, are you aware I'm going to be giving a talk here? I'm horrendously guilty about this. For every 10 talks I do, I remember to do this on one. There's no excuse but laziness. Of all the things I do or don't do that's stupid, that is by far the least intelligent thing I don't do often enough. So if you leave here with nothing else, that idea alone should improve your retention. And those are your raving fans, cater to them. So essentially, to be on networking in person or in life, are you taking a picture of this or me? Okay. So I have to act like this is not staged. That's so you have, and I'm trying really hard to pretend like I'm not distracted by this. And it does freak me out. But in another 10 seconds, I'll actually be over it. But right now, I'm still adjusting. I'm just making sure not to look at Michelle. Just like in real life, the way I describe the difference between networking and marketing, and I think I'll cover this more in the next slide. Networking done properly is about you. It's me learning about you. It's you learning about that other person. Marketing, I'm broadcasting about me. Marketing, I want you to know me. I don't know you, so I can't get to know you. So my goal is to make me seem so interesting or intriguing that you come to check out me. But with networking, there's a lot of people who go to networking events and make it all about them, but who are the most effective networkers? They're the ones asking questions, trying to get to know people. Michelle in particular is really good at it. She hates networking, but she's actually really good at it. And online, it's the same thing. Hey, let me learn a little bit about you. Let me deliver something that caters to exactly something that might interest you. Hey, those 3 tips about how to screen out that creepy guy before you date him. That's without your glasses, great. No, it's hey, 4 things people don't know about the history of African-American movies. I mean, you constantly provide this type of information to people who are interested in this type of information. Eventually, they're gonna find you to be the expert. They're gonna look for excuses to find more things that you're doing and tell, hey, you gotta check out this stuff. And this, I forgot. As I mentioned earlier, promote other people. Besides it being a nice thing to do, it's really smart, especially the folks who have clout and reach. People, capture the people who have a whole bunch of other people listening. Again, it's that fish tank, not just the individual fish. So I already covered marketing versus networking.
I have a question. Did you mention how you are collecting the names? You said you collect them, but I don't,
No, I didn't.
okay, could you?
I'll do my best. There's Feedboard, WordPress and Blogger are the only two things I can speak intelligently. And Blogger I can speak it very intelligently. WordPress I can speak. Hopefully with a little bit of education and not intelligence. Both of them, one calls it gadget, another calls it widget, but basically there's a special, for better lack of a term, WordPress calls it a plugin. You actually have an email, in Blogger you've got an email gadget. You just pick from it, boom. You don't even have to log into FeedBurner. With WordPress, my understanding, I have not done this in a year and a half, so it may have changed since. But I'm pretty sure that WordPress has a gadget. But when I took a WordPress class a year and a half ago, it suggested I register an account with FeedBurner, FeedBurner, feedburner.com, and then connect your WordPress widget to it. I have not done this in a year and a half, so I have a combination of foggy memory, and if there are any updates, I have not been looking, so I'm not educated on that. In the case of Blogger, you don't even have to be that smart. You look up gadgets, email, boom, and you just answer questions. I like Blogger because it's made for dummies like me.
So these gadgets and widgets are just designed to let somebody give you their information, their email address, and it gets sent to your email address. Now you have it.
Along those lines, yes. There are CMS, CRM, Customer Response Management Systems. Those are fancy terminology meaning
Such as Aweber or Constant Contact or.
yes and yes. Those are, for those who aren't familiar with those are sophisticated databases that take emails. Within emails, you've all seen the vacation autoresponder. These are ways of having more intelligent ones. Oh, if they came through this method, send out this immediate response, send out this response, this second response 3 days later, send this response 5 days later. Those are other methods. Those you have to pay. I've heard that there's a free method with MailChimp. On Blogger, it's as simple as this thing. I'll phrase it so you can see a little bit. It's as simple as this in the upper right corner.
But do you email them from Blogger, or do you have to email from your personal email account? That's just capturing the contact, right?
It is capturing the content, but in this case, even if I never look at your email, if I never go into the system, it happens to be captured by FeedBurner, but I didn't know that till afterwards. And it's okay, you don't have to, because it does everything for you. Like I said, Blogger's made for dummies, and it's perfect for me. Actually, if you subscribe, every time I make a brand new post, automatically goes to you. It is a double, what's called a double opt-in system, meaning you not only have to send something to an email saying, please send me blog post updates, you will send something to your email account under which you registered, and you have to go in there and click the verification link. So that's called double, because you have to do it once, and then you have to do the second click, is that sub. So single opt-in is just put in I'm pointing to an imaginary box. If it was single opt-in, you would put this in once, hit subscribe, and you're done. But most of them, because spam rates are such a big thing, they wanna make sure you didn't accidentally do it, or someone didn't decide to put your email address despite it not belonging to them, just to be mean. So they have a double opt-in. It's this, send an email. I'm thinking everyone here has had some version of this. You'd have to click on the verification link. So, did that answer your question?
But if, just to make sure that I understand, it's gonna automatically do that for you, but if you don't have something like Constant Contact, you can't send them a direct to extract that group. Or you can go into FeedBurner and extract the group of emails, so you can email them separately.
I think you're asking, how do you get the, if I wanna send them updates besides the blog posts, how do I get the email addresses to do that?
Right, you'd have to have something to extract it, right? Is that what you're
In the case of Blogger, I'll answer that one through demonstration. I'm going to work with the possibility that other programs are similar. I can only show you the one I know. So for me, it's within layout. WordPress would be widgets. And one of these is my email. Follow Chris Buckner by email. I'm gonna go ahead and edit that. In my case, I'm gonna go ahead and use Stats and Learn More. It's gonna take me into FeedBurner. So I'm not very popular. I think most of these are my brothers and sisters.
So it shows you have 23 email addresses of
Yeah, and probably most of them are bogus. Most of them are just people being mean, registering for other people. I don't write my blogs to be in succession. FeedBurner email subscriptions. So it's not, you gotta dig, but eventually manage your email subscriber list. So it is doable. I
It
think
does
there's a
show
way to
you
download
the physical
Yeah.
address.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
It does show you the physical address of the subscriber.
You are correct.
And I think your question was, can you, without posting a blog, contact them? Can you send an email to those email subscribers without a blog post? Is that your question?
So not very elegant. With higher level things like Aweber, Constant Contact, they make it a lot easier. I've heard that MailChimp, as long as you've got fewer than 500 subscribers, you can do that for free. Bless you. That's, but I have not done that myself, so I don't really know. I'm being a parrot based on what other people have told me. I'm glad you asked that. I'm embarrassed I don't have a better answer. Oh, I don't really want to do that, but no. Oh. Okay. So let's talk about marketing. So networking with social media, I was suggesting a whole lot of, you're essentially responding to nothing, either other people's posts or comments. Case of marketing, you're blasting out your stuff. Except, this is where a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of people, I do Twitter. Okay, let's see some of your tweets. And you just see, read my blog post. I'm tempted. How did I turn on that? How do you forget the computer for a little bit? As a writer, what types of things do you do in order to get people to try and trick people into thinking you're interesting enough to read them?
Your lead.
Your lead, your title, and it may be the same. I don't have a journal. I'm not a journalist. Somebody told me 3 times what the lead was, and a few someone's did. That's is the lead separate from the title, and does it get the educational one up here?
A title's a headline, basically.
I would say, yeah, your lead is, it's either a subtitle or maybe the first sentence.
It's like,
Oh, I'd say, okay,
it's
yes,
the first paragraph of the story.
okay, so, somehow or other, you're luring them, whether it's reciting a very intriguing first sentence, something in the description, that summary, byline, whatever you wanna call it, or a heck of a title. Or on social media, and sadly, it's only recently occurred to me, you got the title of whatever your article is, your blog post. Is there any rule saying that when you go market that on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever, that you have to have the identical title, word for word? Say no. You can't be misleading. If it's an article about cats, don't mention how you can, hey, the greatest recipes ever. Cat recipes? Has nothing to do with food. You got them to read, but you want to make sure the info's there to back it up. But if you know a certain audience is reading something, you can kind of angle things so it's a little more interesting to that group. And then once you lure them into reading, oh, yeah, I would have never responded to that. In fact, actually, I'm glad you made me ask about, indirectly made me ask for a reminder what a lead is. Just this past week, I was on LinkedIn, and someone had a really awesome blog post. And amongst other ways to get people to read, and ironically, one section had to do with titles. But the title of what he wrote was really boring. The only reason I found it is because of the description he wrote underneath within LinkedIn. Wow. And then, because I recognize this, I actually, reposition. I'm in trouble. She's gonna actually ground me for another week because I keep doing this. Who's that?
Things put on the ground, so he's standing on
Like one of those electric fences. So I know I recognize the fact that, yeah, I happen to be attracted because of the lead, but I can see a lot of people are gonna miss a really good blog post that would benefit them because the title was lame. So I actually gave hey, this blog post really, if you're a writer, you need to read this. The title is weak, but the content is awesome. Which may have been a little harsh to the author, but I mean, I had 1 or 2 people, wow, I actually read this because of what you wrote, and you're right, this is a really good post. So you can actually create Twitter, you only got 140 characters to make a lead. LinkedIn, probably Facebook group, you can use a lead, a longer lead. What about YouTube? I actually forgot to mention, I'm going to combine something I should have mentioned earlier. How much you use YouTube to market your blog?
Not yet, but it would be hard to do. I mean,
I didn't ask how could you?
you could just go ahead and do, like, say, okay, for example, you said these are the top 5 movies from from the 1950s, and just go ahead and talk about it for a minute or maybe 2 and post it, upload it to YouTube.
Awesome, Douglas. Yeah, but I don't know if he's the expert on African American movies. A lot of us are too lazy to read. Okay, maybe I read sometimes, but I'm really tired. I'm just gonna go from YouTube. What's this? Oh my God, this Douglas guy, he's interesting.
Sometimes.
I'm boring more often than interesting, but what people see online, they think they make the mistake, I'm interesting, that's what I want. I want to trick people into thinking they should be reading my stuff. And hopefully when I get there, they're continue to be tricked to keep reading. Guess what you get to put underneath the video?
A link to your blog site.
Any rule saying you can't? The only reminder again, include HTTP:// Include that. Beginners tend to often forget in YouTube in particular, you need this, because if you do not have it, that is not a clickable link. And for most people, if that link's not clickable, what are the chances they're gonna copy, go to the top, paste? Oh, I didn't quite copy that, right, let's go down again. Sad.
Well, obviously, you're not gonna do that.
That's because I'm lazy.
It's a rough one.
And I'm proud of that. I mentioned Pinterest. Oh, by the way, something I should have mentioned with the networking with YouTube. Now, the marketing is the blink. You watch one video with Douglas giving you the tips about movies, maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. But if you keep tripping over Douglas, hi, this is Douglas, the movie madman. I'm gonna bring you some insight you never considered. Okay, that's interesting. A day later, hi, this is Douglas. After a while, you're gonna think this guy is omnipresent and more importantly, omnipotent. Well, at least about his topic. Can you not do the same thing for you? By the way, true or false, it costs a lot of money to make videos.
False.
It can cost a lot of money. And by the way, if you actually want, at LA2M next Wednesday, I'll be giving a talk on free resources. If you're interested, we can talk about that afterwards. I mentioned Pinterest. How can you use Pinterest as a way to market your blog?
That's how those plumbers connected to me. It is, I'm not kidding, because they have a business website or something on Pinterest, and so they were seeking out connections. But people repin what you put on there also.
It's if you're not familiar with Pinterest, I've never used it. I have an account. Say I have an account. Oh, I'm not interested. Probably should be. I mean, it didn't occur. One of the good things about giving talks is when you have to prepare. Oh, I should be doing that. It makes sense. So this is one of the things I'm going to tell you to do, but I've never done it. So again, the parrot's talking, not my experience. But how many people respond to a picture? Raise your hand if you've ever responded to a picture. Oh my, what's that? Click. Raise your hand if you've ever watched a video based on that. I'm not asking you to tell me what the picture was. Is there any reason you cannot do that in your blog? Your blog probably has all sorts of cool pictures. Make sure it relates. Again, don't have a picture of a cat and then give cauliflower recipes, unless you have a vegetarian cat.
Can I share a quick tip from Rick online?
Sure.
Alright, he says, use namecheck.org to see whether your preferred username is available across multiple social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest.
And that's actually a really good suggestion. I mean, that's maybe if you plan on buying your own domain name and you actually want, hey, I'd like to maintain that name, not just the domain, but I'd like to be able to have that Facebook account name. I'd like to have that Twitter handle name. I'd like to have, Rick knows more than me. It actually, when you go to Namecheck, it actually,
Yeah, he actually corrected himself. It's namecheck.com.
I think there's actually both though. There's at least two that are real similar, and they work very similarly. So name, in fact, again, we're gonna make Google do the work. Namecheck. So we got namecheck.com. What was the other one? We got namechecker.com. Username check, name check list. So for right now, we'll just go with namecheck.com.
And how's that spelled, the check? Is that the
CHECK.
Yeah, he happened to see another one that's a CHK, but I'm using the one that has real words, name, N-A-M-E, check, C-H-E-C-K.
I never knew about this. This is so cool.
Heritage Media. It would help if I spell it correctly.
Yeah, they recently changed it to Heritage Media. It used to be Heritage Newspapers.
This is a perfect chance, we can do some online. I'm checking now, but it's not showing now. And it's still going through, it's gonna show us domain names. I don't even know what new GTLDs are, maybe we'll figure out that in a moment. Supposedly gives some feedback about trademarks, social usernames. I'm guessing that some of this stuff is not gonna show. Say if you wanna see the entire list, they just on any feed, $42,000.17. But some of this is gonna, we're gonna scroll down. It shows that the .com of heritagemedia.com is taken, which heritagemedia.net is taken, heritagemedia.org is taken. It gives the different domains, just like GoDaddy does, but then it goes a level further. The social media usernames. So if I want to actually I want a Heritage Media Tumblr account, they beat me to it, or someone beat you to it. She's slick, she probably,
No.
and it even gives trademarks. Oh, it's available in the US. I could be mean and buy that. Luckily I got better things to do with my time and money.
You're just lazy.
I'm extremely lazy. But I'm only lazy when it pays me lazy.
So what's the, before we all forget, what's the new GTLD?
I have no idea.
That's probably the second section. New, right there.
It's top level domains. You
Oh,
just
cool,
passed
okay.
Top level.
it. I don't know what the G stands for.
Don't
Go
know either.
Google me.
Yeah. That's beyond the scope of what I'm mentioning, so good tip, Rick. Glad you haven't fallen asleep yet, or if you have, your brain's working louder than you're snoring. Here's something I bet nobody's given any thought. You think anyone's ever looking for dating advice? Think anyone looking for dating advice might be interested in something you have to write? Get something like Craigslist.org. Give a little bit of a tip. Hey, you don't even have to charge me anything. All you have to do, give a little bit of a description, a teaser line that might interest them. Dating advice for free. 6 ways to pick up your next date and have them pay you double, pay for dinner and give you money, and bring you flowers. PG, I wasn't thinking that direction. That's
That would be in the business section.
any place I get people to click, I'm okay. You don't have to give me your address, just your blog address. And of course, what are you leaving? A link which has http:// So now we're getting closer to Terry's concerns. I think she's an SEO guru. I think she actually teaches, she teaches PhD level classes in internet marketing, she just hasn't told us. I'm not gonna go over everything with SEO. I mean, not because it's not needed, but because that's too big a topic, but the main gist of it, SEO happens to be search engine optimization. What does that mean? When you get Google results, you got the sponsored ads and you got the free results. They call the free results organic listings because before we had a whole bunch of jerky internet marketers like me, those were the, I'll get your question in a moment, Susan. Those listings occurred naturally. You get a bunch of people like me, it's that natural organic stuff, no longer very organic, but theoretically it's still organic, it's definitely free. SEO focuses on the free listings, not search engine marketing. SEM happens to be the paid. And pretty much, there's two main features of how Google decides to pick your website over anyone else's when they type in certain keywords. I call the stuff that's on your website versus stuff that's on-site SEO, on-site search engine optimization. They call it optimization because they're doing things to try and optimize your chances of Google picking your website for a specific keyword term. So for instance, African American movies, history of African American movies, you would love to be at the top of that search. That would probably bring some very good traffic to you. Qualified traffic and a lot of it. And so, if your goal, using SEO things, you're gonna probably do things like, today, knowing you know, what would the name of the website be if your goal is to be on the top of that search phrase? History of AfricanAmericanMovies.com. And what would the title be? History of AfricanAmericanMovies.com. And what phrase would be sprinkled several times throughout the text? And that's all good to do, but let's face it, we're not the first people in the world to discover that. It may be the first you've heard of it, but I'm not telling you where the gold mine with gold still in it is. Everyone's aware of this gold mine. It's just now water's there, and it's helpful, but it's not going to make you singularly rich. Then you got the stuff, the off-site SEO. That's the stuff you do to market your website from the outside pointing in. And you do that through different backlinks, links that go, and I apologize for you grammar Nazis. I'm going to use poor grammar for a moment in order to clarify. A backlink goes from another page and it links back to your page. Hence they call it a backlink. I know it's two prepositions consecutively. Shoot me for poor grammar. But as long as you understand the point, I can deal with that. And what I mentioned earlier, I started to mention earlier, I have a blog post, or a blog, I forgot my glasses, or I didn't wear my glasses.com. It's too tricky.
You didn't have my glasses on.
I didn't have my glasses on.com.
I love it.
It's really cute, I just can't remember it. So I didn't have my glasses on.com. Roughly how many blog posts do you have on it? About 100, 200?
100 something.
Okay. We'll just roughly say 150.
Okay.
So if there are 150 blog posts, Beth's blog can be found 151 times by Google. Anyone want to take a guess how I calculated that? There are 150 blog posts on Beth's blog. I say there are 151 chances for Google to find it. Number one, have the overall, I didn't have my glasses on.com is one. So we agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, any idea what the other 150 are?
The blogs.
Each blog post has its own URL. That's the funny thing up the top, the address bar. So I've got Chris Beckner, marketingideas.blogspot.com, which I fold into my website, so you don't have to even remember that. But I go in, that's for the overall blog. I actually click on the specific blog post. It's still Chris Beckner, marketingideas.blogspot.com, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Usually in conjunction, something that has all or part of my title. How do you think, since it includes part of your blog title, do you think it might make sense for you to pick words in your title that would match some of the words that people you're hoping to find your blog would type? Am I making
Yeah,
sense?
that makes sense. It does.
It's good to have because it's in the title, but also has it. So now, let me restate what I mentioned earlier. Beth has roughly 150 blog posts on her I didn't have my glasses on.com. I'm starting to get it. You're getting this free puck too. she's got one for the overall. She's got one more for her first blog post, one more for her second. In fact, she's got 150 different individual ones one for each of the 150 blog posts, plus her overall blog. Can you say a lot of opportunities for people to find you? Especially if you actually intentionally game the system. There's a value in this. Remember earlier when I asked a question, hey, is there any rule saying that the way you market your blog on different social media sites, is there any rule saying that you have to actually, okay, I think this, busted. And caught in the cookie jar and everything. Is there any rule saying that what you post, the way you market on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever, that title, is there any rule saying it has to be identical to the title on your blog post? What does this have to do with Google SEO and our topic now? What type of title do you really want on your blog post? Something that people will find in Google. Sometimes it requires you to write some things that are a little awkward, because a lot of people type things into Google like it's a database. Plumbers, Ypsilanti. We tend to talk about Ypsilanti plumbers. We put our adjectives before our nouns, but when we use a database, we tend to put our nouns followed with adjectives. So our title can be awkward when we market it otherwise. There isn't any rule saying we have to put plumbers Ypsilanti. We can actually have Ypsilanti plumbers and actually reflect the good writing that we're able to create. But you still title things in Google so that people will find them the way they're likely to type them in Google. I have a feeling I probably connected on 80% of you. I wish I had made that realization sooner. There's a lot of blog posts that I just said, heck with it, I'll worry about keywords later. That was dumb. Now, of course I never went back. Here's something that a lot of folks know, but a lot of folks don't know. You finally got someone to read one of your blog posts. While they're on there, have you ever read a blog post and noticed see also? If you're in, or at the end, if you're interested in these, if you like this blog post, you might be interested in these others. While you're on there, keep them on there. The more time they spend with you, the more invested they are with you. Make it easy for them to keep investing in you. Have clicks. You can have actual backlinks within your text that take you to a different part of your blog or site, or just simply suggest title. There's lots of shoulds to do in marketing, but the keys, probably focus on a few methods. Know your goals. Know which types of people you want to capture. I mean, yes, it's great people are reading, but if they're real, if you're not really interested in the cat lovers if you're writing about a cat hater site. I mean, yeah, they may even come to hate on you, get you a little laugh, but it's probably not going to do anything for your long term. I mean, it's going to be a waste of your time. Okay. Yeah, actually, someone actually worded, by the time I wrote this, someone else already gave me a really cool line. I often tell people what I do. And I do my best to try and make it clear to help people see what I do. Okay? There's lots of people that see what I do. Any idea how many people do what I do? It's a lot. I don't know the exact numbers, obviously, but see versus do. You just do some of these things, you've now made yourself well in the top half, just because most people do nothing. Have a plan that you're able to follow, not things you should do. I'm sorry, I'm blocking you. Have a plan that, we need to get you up close with better glasses. And have a plan that you know that you're likely to do. And if you can always do more, but be at least somewhat consistent. At least, if you're a blogger, post a blog once every 2 weeks. That's still 26 posts a year. And compared to most people who do nothing, after 2 years, you got almost 80 posts. 78 is the exact number. But it doesn't take long if you actually have a consistent plan, just stay with it. But always test what you're doing, because what's working today only might work tomorrow. So keep doing what you're doing, but always be on the lookout for different possibilities, and check to see, hey, I get all sorts of people say, you can't do that. You know what I ask them? What have you done? What proof do you have it doesn't work? Have you done it? Have you done it and gotten rejected? Frankly, what I'm telling you are things I've done, unless I told you I don't do them, and they work. I thought about making this first, but actually, even if you never touch a computer except to write your blog, check your friends and family, have a business card. I mean, if you want, go to Vista. I'm told, I've never used Vista, but what's it cost? Whatever delivery cost is, like 250 or 500 cards on Vista, print them, put your blog on it. I'm told it's easy. I'm guessing it's easy because there are some people I know who are really not very bright who still manage to pull it off. And obviously they're brighter than me because they've done it and I haven't. That's something else I don't see people do, and actually, I should have actually done it here. I should have actually had a flyer to be ready each one of your seats, or maybe a tip sheet. 6 things most people don't know about marketing their blogs. And guess whose contact info will be in the bottom? Anything stopping you guys from doing this? Go to networking events. That's here. Talk to people. Hey, that's okay, fine. You don't find this topic interesting. Tell me a little bit about your blog. Your network is your net worth. And honestly, give talks. Because there are probably thousands of people within the Detroit metro area alone who know more about online marketing than me. But right now as we're talking, I am by far the best expert you guys see in here right now. And if you don't see anybody else, which chances are today you're probably not. There's a very good chance I'm the top 3 network marketing guys you're going to see today. I mean, that's silly, but it's not. I couldn't tell you how many people referred to me. Wow, yeah, you need to talk to this marketing guy. They're not qualified to know if I'm any good. I mean, I've got a clear conscience about recommending myself, but I'm the best they know because I'm the only one that went to the show. You could be the same thing. Whatever your topic, and if you're not, I mean, I can see some people like to hate talking in front of people. There's a workaround. Here's exactly what I did. You're like, I'm so ADD, half the time I forget what I'm going to say. It's happened several times in here today, but I now have enough experience, I know how to work around it. You have to be willing to be lousy before you're good. And there are a couple people in here who have actually heard me say this exact talk. But the easiest way to get started, give a demonstration. If you actually give a demonstration, the focus is not on you. Hey, let me walk through this on the computer, or let me go ahead and show you on this individual. Let's go ahead and take a look, like in your case, Douglas, you can actually show a scene or two in the African American movie. Notice these things. Did you notice these things? Let's play this again. Now that I've introduced these things, do you notice it this time? And you redirect the discussion out there. But you're still a featured person. They're gonna know exactly who you are. And when they, again, just like the networking portion, they know who you are. They're gonna read your blog because they're interested in you or interested in what you have to say without knowing you. It's usually means yourself, they know who you are. I can't imagine, So I'll give a disclaimer, and so I took too much time. That's, so for those of you who have to leave at 3, you're not gonna offend me, you're playing by the rules. That's, even if you're bored, you can actually act like it's because you had to leave. It's, just because you mark it does not mean all your problems are solved. If you're making junk and you put a magnifying glass on that trash, a closer view is just going to get a closer view if it's good. So there are things we can do to try and make people want to read our blog. I'll try and go through since I'm running late. Make sure your topic is a good fit for your target readers. The title, good material. That's, oops. I still struggle with this one. The length of the blog posts. If you have the type of readers that love reading, then blog posts are good. Most of us are really lazy. We usually lose our interest after about 2 paragraphs. I'm horrible. My blog posts tend to ramble on forever, and I hate reading. And I would not go to my own blog post. It's a true statement, but there are people that actually do read my stuff. I'm really lucky not everyone's like me. Be careful. As much as you want to, I'm encouraging you to write having Google in mind. Don't just write for Google. What I suggest, write normally, and then after the fact, okay, what keyword am I trying to target, and what words are similar? How can I manipulate some things so it kind of encourages Google to pick me for that? And one little trick, and I'll show you in a minute, but one way to get my keyword without violating grammar too badly, especially if I have an awkward keyword, like plumber, Ypsilanti, they get to be worse than that sometimes. But use headings. Headings are like mini titles. We can make it look like we're just categorizing things. Plumber, Ypsilanti service. Plumber, Ypsilanti problems. If you read that as a title of a heading, would that really turn off you? Versus if I actually start in the middle of reading it, well, there's something you should really know about plumber, Ypsilanti people. Google found it and helped you find it. Unfortunately, you read it. You don't want to. I don't suggest you do that, but with headings, that's a way to work around, meet Google's needs. Otherwise, we actually pretty much covered things with keywords. Don't just use your keywords. Use words that relate. A lot of folks who are just beginning SEO, again, that's doing things to try and get on the free part of Google. They'll just pummel the whole thing with keywords, and anytime they can use any other word but the keyword, they actually change that word to the keyword. That's called keyword stuffing. And we've all read that stuff. We may not have known the term, but we've all read it. We've been appropriately irritated by it. If we can, try and get the keyword stuffed in the URL. If not in the actual one, you can do it in the title, which becomes part of the domain. WordPress allows you to put in a description. And actually another place, I'm not going to get in the technical side, but a non-technical way you can add that other people don't. You insert a picture, they let you put in a caption. Guess what? Awesome keyword opportunity. And include little images. I call it supporting material. Michelle actually did a really good thing on different resources to kind of pretty up your article that you submit in December. I don't even remember, I remember about 3 of them, and she gave like 4,200. It's, I mean, picture images, of course, infographics, there's some, is it Google Many Eyes?
It's just called Many Eyes, and you have to Google it, because the address is different.
Okay. So Many
So
Eyes,
just-
let's actually, go ahead. You actually, Michelle.
No, I was just gonna say, just Google Many Eyes. And then there's a new one I discovered, I think it's infog dot ram or infogr.am, something along those lines. There's a dot in there.
Infogram-ish,
Yeah.
infographic-ish.
Infogram, yeah.
Well, let's-
In capsules, there's no U, but otherwise you got it right.
Oh,
So capsules.com.
and I haven't done it since I did a test, to say, yes, I've done it once. That's a timeline program. The specific things aren't so important. You can essentially, you can Google how to, or website to make a chart, website to make a free video. And, I've actually never used Scribe, Scribd, however you say it. And a Google Maps is a piece of cake. And it's, tell you what, actually, I'll make the offer if you are interested in learning how to create the Google Map image. I'm gonna put that on your website, send it to me, I'll create a video and I'll just send it to you. It might take about a week or 2 for me to get motivated enough to create that video, but at the end I'll give you my contact info. Well, anyway, having these things on your site, and I'm guilty, a lot of my posts don't have the pictures. I don't have an excuse, that's bad laziness. Except for the fact I don't make that much money off my site.
I can also send anyone a link to my PowerPoint that lists them all and has the hyperlinks and everything if you want it.
Hers is a nice long resource. It's, mine would just be, and I'm only offering for the Google Map just because I'm trying to emphasize the fact it's easy to do, but it's a way for you to look impressive without doing that much work. Especially doing a review in a place. Well, that's, I don't remember everything I wrote here. I actually took this off a blog post I wrote. But those are blog tips, so that I know I'm over my time. All in all, the top one says it all. Somehow imply that the person's gonna be entertained, or that you're gonna supply info they're dying to know. I can't think of any, I mean, of course, people like controversy, but that's like a blend of entertainment and info. People like lists, people like, I mean, people really respond well to lists. I keep mentioning 6 ways to, or 3 ways to, or even just a simple, one major way most new marketers mess up their blogs. What's that? I don't do that. What is that? There you go. Not everybody, but there's plenty that. Am I forgetting anything important? Make people embrace their laziness. I can't remember what I wrote within the description of my blog post, but make a promise that pretty much, if you know what people want. Actually, my event next week, 3 free and easy ways to create online videos. It's a true statement. They are free and they are easy. Most folks starting videos, like, once you know, that was it. Or 3 things you need to do to double your income in 5 years from now. I don't have that answer, but if you did, yeah. But I mean, you see that title. If it got you intrigued, if someone legitimately wrote that title and had good stuff afterward, I'm guessing at least one of you would have, what do I have there? Here's the biggest thing I see a lot of people do. I can't scroll up because it just doesn't scroll up. Can you see this? What's the difference between left side and right side? You're a writer? Let me introduce you to the concept of a paragraph. I did not include, the other things that probably be a good idea would be, I mean, don't use all sorts of compound complex sentences unless you have the type of reader that is high level and loves that sophistication. We tend to get really bored, we have a lot of info overload on the internet. Use simple sentences when you can. For those who need an intro, but essentially, a compound sentence, when you tie together two sentences with like and, but, or something like that. A complex sentence is when you actually have the subordinate clause that's a part that's not a sentence, but it leads into a sentence, or the sentence leads into it. And then you've got some people who are trying so hard to be impressive that they'll actually put compound, like more than one sentences, and they'll make them complex by adding parts that have dependent clauses. If that doesn't mean anything, you don't worry about it, but for those of you who did, make your sentences simple. Let's try and, if you got 20-word sentences and you have a whole lot of them, you'll probably put your readers asleep. Have headings, which unfortunately I didn't make this big enough. Have bold headings with section in place, have space in between, short paragraphs. And I didn't demonstrate, but use bullet points or actual number lists are actually really good too. People respond well to have, oh, that's what I'm supposed to read. And then you can go into the details underneath. So unfortunately, I fell short of my promise again to try and make things tailored to I got people's blogs in the beginning. I didn't really get a chance to address other people's ideas later. For those who want to stay, I'll try and get these. I think Rick asked a question here, and I think it was Terry who asked a question about warehouse versus distribution center. But outside of my trying to get these questions answered, what questions do you have for me? I know you ask questions throughout. I give you permission to go with 3. You don't have to say 2. Thank you for coming, Jody. That's did you get any value from today?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
much.
I think it could be 2 sessions.
That's
You got such good stuff and such good stuff at the end, I think it could almost be two different sessions. Wow.
Some of that's my fault for not breaking up properly.
No, it's good.
But it's easy to get overwhelmed with this stuff because
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. It's real excellent though.
One last thing from Rick, he says, even if you don't plan on using that name,
check, name check?
yeah, register your name there so no one else can use your name. So anyway, that's what he said.
No, that's good advice. I mean, essentially, actually, I'll tell you what, forget name check just in general. If you have a somewhat unique name, buy the domain.com, if not also the .org and the .net. Any idea why?
Well, if you get really good and you get to make a lot of money, people are gonna, somebody will buy it.
Some will do that, or they'll even, if they buy it, they might buy it to be malicious, not only just to buy it, but then they might post stuff, your competitor might post stuff that you may not really want. And because it has your name in the domain,
It goes straight there, if somebody's looking for it.
yeah, if someone types that into Google. Yeah, so actually what Rick mentioned is really good. So let's see if I
So
can
do you
find.
bring our own cameras for the video?
Are you talking about on,
Oh, the other workshop we're having?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be that hands-on, so I wouldn't worry
Okay.
about it unless you want to.
are you
Well,
talking
no,
about?
I mean, I didn't bring it. I
Okay.
didn't bring my laptop, I felt like.
Oh,
Jerk.
So what's your blog?
Oh, it's called, the Urban Witch Doctor.
What's it called?
The Urban Witch Doctor.
All right, thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Sorry if I embarrassed you a couple times. I
Oh,
appreciate
it's
you.
fine.
You definitely had a universally appreciated topic.
Oh,
And you know you're on video and with it, you putting your name out there over and over.
thanks.
It's fine.
Oh, God, now she'll never come again at that problem.
And I'll see you both again. Thank you very much. Thank you for
Oh,
the
thanks for
email.
coming.
I
Sure, yeah.
appreciate that.
And there were some things that you were mentioning that, I think think you wanted help with. What
Well,
was it?
I know you do the one-on-one thing down here, and I thought it'd
Yeah.
be kind of fun to come down since I'm semi-retired now.
Mhm.
You know, I've got so much time on my hands.
Yeah,
Simply 'cause now-
just, I've got information up there, I've got my card up there, and you
Okay.
wanna email me, we can set up an appointment and you can come in
Super.
and set you up on Twitter if you're not on there, or
Okay,
Facebook or whatever.
all right, no, Twitter I've got,
We could do
Facebook
video,
I have,
okay,
you know, and I'm working on the video thing, so.
Okay.
So it'll be fun.
cool.
Like I said, I need to be more consistent with my output.
Yeah, oh, we can also, link up your blog on our, news websites, so if you're
Now,
interested
your
in that.
news website, is that, okay, now, I'm new to the area, so.
Okay.
that's-
But your blog is sort of universal, right?
Yeah, the blog.
Yeah,
is
so
website.
it would be like the Oakland Press, Macomb Daily, Heritage Newspapers, the Morning Sun in Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
Number of news websites across Michigan. We're always looking to add bloggers. So we
Okay.
have something called a blog roll on each of those sites.
No, that
So
is
we
good.
would add your URL, so it'd be the name of your blog, a description, and your last few posts will appear with your photo.
Okay,
And so we're gonna drive traffic to you, and we just ask that you host our headline widget. So our headlines will be
Okay.
on your site, and
Okay.
people reading yours might go, oh, that looks like an interesting story, and we click on that, it's gonna drive back to us. So it's kind of a partnership.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, super.
So email me, and I'll give you info on that
I
too.
sure will, thank
Okay,
you so
sure,
much.
you're welcome.
Okay, and I already have your card, so we'll do
If I just, check out, I think it's called Afro Trek in Cinema
Chris Rick said
Track.
thank you.
that. Okay. I have
Makes a lot of
A friend of mine,
How did you know he snored?
Oh, Rick said thank you?
Yeah.
his name is Jasper.
What did he ask just now?
Okay,
Oh, he
Not
just
Jack
said, how
Burton.
did you know that he snores?
this was one of my favorite movies.
So,
All right, here we go.
We could hear him through here.